All right, here we are. We have come to another loss and therefore another overreaction day after the game. In this case, it is Monday, and the Detroit Lions are coming off probably their worst performance of the year, man. Real talk. They put up less points than they did against the Green Bay Packers in that week one opener, and they just looked out of sync, and there's a lot of kind of blame to go around. We are going to talk about a few things in this segment, and again, I couldn't really, the comment section was great with names for overreaction. I think one of my favorites was Crash Out Mondays, but at the same time, crashing out is more, I think of I show speed, I think of myself when we don't draft or trade for a pass rusher. I think of that, and I'm not there. That's not where I am. I think of like rage-inducing, throwing something somewhere around there, like a legit crash out, forehead veins popping out, that whole thing. And so right now, I guess we'll stick with overreaction. I did see exaggeration Mondays, but I don't know. Overreaction is such a good word. Nobody really owns it. So I guess for right now, we'll stick to that. But we got a few things to talk about. And remember, this is an overreaction segment. So I'm going to give you some topics, and I want you to tell me in the comment section which ones do you think are overreactions. And again, there is no right or wrong answer to this. These are just, is it an overreaction to feel this way? Some things that I've been thinking about and seeing in the comment section and from social media. And the first thing is it an overreaction to say that extending Jared Goff was a bad idea? Is it an overreaction to say extending Jared Goff is a bad idea? An overreaction. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. Now, you might think that, I'm trying to ride or die with JG, and I am trying to ride. That's my quarterback, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't see any fault with Jared Goff, and that's not true at all. But one of the things that grinds my gears about Jared Goff is he needs a perfect offensive line. He needs an offensive line to give him time. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that need the goal of the offensive line is to protect the quarterback. We've seen what could happen. Now, I do understand that there are different type of quarterbacks that benefit from that. You've got Joe Burrow, who has never had an offensive line, and this dude was an MVP front runner earlier this year. So he doesn't have the skill and the talent of those guys. But to say that it was a bad signing, or that the Lions should not have extended him, I think that's an overreaction. I do. Because if you go back and you look, what other options would we have had? What other options have we had? Like, real talk. Hendon Hooker would have never worked out here. In the time that Jared Goff has been here, what options have we had? You guys wanted Lamar Jackson a few years ago because he liked the tweet that he liked something about Dan Campbell, and y'all was trying to get him in Detroit. Right? It's always the quarterback's fault. It's never anything else. So for me, I think it is an overreaction to say that the Lions made a mistake extending Jared Goff. That is, to me, an overreaction. Is it an overreaction to say that Brad Holmes and Jared Goff should go down together? I'm going to say, is it an overreaction that Brad Holmes and Jared Goff should go down together? Here's what I mean. Brad Holmes took over as general manager for the Detroit Lions. He traded away Matthew Stafford. In doing so, got the castaway that was Jared Goff, and he took him willingly. He was excited to take him, so he takes him. Jared Goff has 4 years, had just signed a massive deal with the LA Rams. The Detroit Lions take that on. He plays out the rest of that contract, which was 4 years. They decide to extend Jared Goff another 4 years, okay? They did that going into year 4 of his previous contract. And right now, Jared Goff is in his first year of his new money. The potential out for the Detroit Lions is after so they have this year, 2026. It is after the 2027 season. That puts us in the spring of 2028. That is when the Detroit Lions have their first legit out. Jared Goff will be 34 years old. As of this moment, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, their contracts expire the same year that Jared Goff has a potential out. So is it an overreaction to say that Brad Holmes and Jared Goff should go together if they're no longer part of, means if the Detroit Lions take a potential out after year 3 of the new money, which is in the 2028 offseason, that Brad should go with them, that Jared Goff and him should be tied together. It is not an overreaction. It is not a real overreaction. Remember our former general manager. Our former general manager came in to a coach that kept his job after the general manager that hired him was fired. We then get a new GM. He comes in. You knew from jump that this guy he did not want to keep Jim Caldwell. After 2 years, he decides to let Jim Caldwell go. He brings in his own guy. And after 2.5 years, they both went out together. Brad Holmes is responsible for everything that is Jared Goff, from trading for him or including him in the trade to extending him when a lot of you don't want him as your quarterback. So is it an overreaction to say that Brad Holmes should go down with Jared Goff if the Detroit Lions decide to move on from both of them at the end of in the 2028 offseason? To me, it is not an overreaction. Put that in the comments below. Is it an overreaction to say that Ben Johnson was the identity of this offense? Is it an overreaction to say that Ben Johnson was the identity of this offense? Overreaction, as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. We just can't seem to get it together. Now, we did lose Frank Ragnow. You can throw that in there. Now, again, overreaction is like the other side of the fence. So there's a lot of stuff in between what I just said about Ben Johnson. But is it an overreaction to say that Ben Johnson was the identity of this offense? I'm going to say no, it's not. Again, we did lose our all-world, all-pro center. Taylor Decker is probably not going to be a Detroit Lion next year. Penei Sewell is the best, brightest spot of that offensive line. And he's, ironically, going to be the veteran next year. Like, you're talking about a guy going in what? Penei Sewell is going into year 6, and he's going to be the seasoned veteran. And Penei, he got it for a long time. The dude is young. He got it, and we see offensive linemen that are studs into their 30s. So I don't think he's going to lose it anytime soon. But he's going to anchor that offensive line at the end of the season. But it seems like we get rid of, or we don't get rid of, but Ben Johnson decides to take a coaching job with the Chicago Bears. And I start to think back. If you think back to a few years ago, after the Detroit Lions had that 2022 resurgence, we start 1-6, we end the season, we go 8-2 down the stretch. Our offense really begins to roll. He had a coaching opportunity after 2022. If I'm not mistaken, it was with the Carolina Panthers. Then you look after 2023, had a coaching opportunity with the Washington Commanders. He winds up turning the job down on the plane because he wanted the job that he eventually got. After 2024, he takes the job with the Chicago Bears, and they currently have a better record than we do. Now, our offense heading into week 11 was ranked better than them. It was higher than them, but we just seem to be missing something. And I don't know if it's Ben Johnson. I don't know if it's Frank Ragnow. I don't know if it's both. But is it an overreaction to say that Ben Johnson was the identity of the offense? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. And here's the last overreaction thought that I have. Is it an overreaction to say that the Detroit Lions will miss the playoffs? Is it an overreaction to say that the Detroit Lions will miss the playoffs? I'm going to say it's not an overreaction. A lot of y'all in the comment section don't believe, and you've been saying it since we lost to the Green Bay Packers, week 1, that we weren't going to make the playoffs. I don't think it's an overreaction, but I do think we're going to make the playoffs. Right now, the Detroit Lions are on the outside looking in. But I do think we're going to make the playoffs, and I'm going to tell you why I think that. I think we're going to make the playoffs because it's going to come down to the last couple of spots are going to be between a few teams. Now, right now, we're not even in that. We're not even in that mix, believe it or not. But because the Bears currently have a better record than we do, but we beat them before, that last game of the season could be for one of us getting into the playoffs. And you have that situation where the Bears started 0-2 when they lost to us. And in doing so, they gave themselves a 10% chance to make the playoffs, which means that it was a 90% chance that they would not. Because that's how big of a hurdle 0-2 is to overcome, where it could come down to literally the last game of the season, which happens to be against another team currently. Like, listen to what I'm saying, y'all. This is crazy. That currently the Detroit Lions are from the outside looking in. Now, granted, there are a lot of games left. The Detroit Lions have a lot of winnable games. Right now, they have 6 wins and 4 losses. I legitimately could see if things, I see the 2 losses that I'm picking for the Detroit Lions are the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving. I got an eerie feeling about it, and the LA Rams. But we could beat the Rams and Packers and lose to a team we're supposed to beat, right? We could beat the Packers on Thanksgiving, but lose somewhere else down the line, beat the Rams, and things could go differently. But I have us at 11-6. That was my floor when I did the predictions, which is crazy because in the years that we've been doing Lions Syndicate, I don't think I've been off one time. Even when we picked in 2021 for the 2022 season, I said 9-8. All of this stuff is receipted, so you can go check it out. But is it an overreaction to say that the Detroit Lions are going to miss the playoffs? It's not. It's not. And I wonder how this fan base will be if that happens. How will this fan base react or overreact if the Detroit Lions miss out on the playoffs? And if they do, if the Lions miss out on the playoffs, it's going to be a very similar situation to 2022 where we are over 500 like we were in 2022, and we miss out on the playoffs by 1 game. That is how the Lions will miss the playoffs. And it will come on, and that's why I think that the Bears are not going to make the playoffs, because they're going to be that team potentially over 500. I mean, all they have to do is win 2 more games. If the Bears win 2 more games out of the 7 they have left, they will officially end the season over 500. So, and right now they have more wins than the Lions. They are a half game in front of the Detroit Lions. I mean, I can't, as I'm talking and saying it, it doesn't even feel right rolling off my tongue. So there's your overreaction segment. And look, we'll just stick with that name, man. It's the perfect name. It really is. I was trying to kind of think outside the box and stuff like that, but look, everyone uses it. I'm just trying to kind of carve my own place here. But you know what? I'm like, Derek, it legitimately works. Overreaction, such and such date works. So let me know if any of those. Now, keep in mind, these are not my thoughts. Like these are not, there's no right or wrong answer. This is your time to put in the comment section. Do you think that any of these things are an overreaction? Let me know down in the comments below. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. I got a bit of some good news for you guys that I think you're going to love. Lions lost yesterday, and this is the first loss of the season that I didn't go. I didn't go to this game, and we lost. So the curse of me going to games and bringing a loss back with me is officially broken for 2025, if you believe that stuff. But due to the fact that I am anticipating season tickets for next year for Ford Field, and we are coming up on the end of the season, and I need to be prepared for that, I am considering not attending any other games this season. That's where I'm at. Because California's, I'm sick about that. I have never missed a game between Goff and Stafford, and this is early, so I'm not certain yet, but I wind up canceling my tickets to Washington and Philadelphia. I'm glad, because Washington's stadium is probably the worst in the NFL, and Philly was a loss. So I'm glad. So I have like a flight credit, and I'm thinking, before yesterday's game, I was like, okay, well, maybe I should save one of those for the Super Bowl. I was even like thinking about buying, because we got 3 months before the Super Bowl, 2.5 months, and I was thinking about buying a ticket and getting a refund. I had never got a refund, like apply for a refund or ask for a credit or cancel the flight. That's the term. I had never done that, so I didn't know how it worked. But I was able to get a credit for both of the flights that I canceled because I did it in enough time. And now that the shutdown is over, it's no problem. By the time I travel again, it'll be, all that stuff will be back to working and cleared up. So I'm saying to myself, I'm like, LA is the one game I really, really, really wanted to go to. And Minnesota has a fantastic stadium. I could fly to the airport, get an Uber to the hotel. The hotel is literally down the street from the stadium. It's like three-fourths of a mile. But I'm thinking to myself, you know what, Derek, just stay home. You know what I'm saying? And put forth the season tickets for next year, because I am anticipating that to happen. So as of this moment, right now, I don't think I'm going to attend any more games this season. So anyway, I just thought y'all would get a kick out of that. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.